What's up, guys? Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VII. We're at North Corel. Or Coral, I guess. How do you pronounce it? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyways, I thought that said, hey, he's black the first time I read it. That'd be pretty bad. Also kind of funny, but also pretty bad. This place is an utter crap hole. But there's a story reason why. So, yeah. There we go. Kinda deserve that. Or did he? We'll learn, because guess what? We're gonna get a little bit of exposition on Barrett's character. Because I do kind of like how you are literally just thrown into having Barrett on your team. He's just there, you know? And yeah, it's important that every character does have, you know, some form of backstory, and the fact that you do get that with every character. And I do really recommend, if you haven't watched it yet, if you're interested at all in a good study on Final Fantasy VII, go watch The Completionist. He did a full series retrospective on Final Fantasy VII, and it's really good for explaining a lot of the key themes of the characters and why it's more than just a quote-unquote overrated video game. And you do definitely feel these themes when you go into it. I won't get into it because, of course, there's a bit of spoilers. In fact, if you don't want spoilers for the thing, don't watch it. I mean, I watched it, but it was so long ago, and most of the major story beats I already knew, so that's fine. Like, whenever I watch YouTube videos and people are like, well, someone recently, because I did a thing where I played a bit of Metal Gear Solid 1 blind, right? I'm gonna get back to that one day. And like, someone was like, you're quoting DSP, which means that you obviously... Also, I was like, okay, wait, no, I'm not gonna make the mistake of buying more equipment, because you can just de-equip other equipment. They're like, oh, you're quoting DSP's playthrough, this isn't blind then. And it's like, you can't have truly blind playthroughs in 2016, just because of how games work, you know? I mean, like, my next game I'm gonna be playing blind for the channel will be Danganronpa, and a lot of people are saying make sure you go in blind. But, I mean, hey, I used Tumblr in the years where Danganronpa was a big thing, so there's some spoilers that I probably have already seen, but you don't put them into your long-term memory, you know? So, I'm burping. I shouldn't have drank that whole thing of coffee before this. So, like, also the number tattoos are very important. Remember to pay attention. You know, I feel like it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. But, like, look at this place. It's such a crap hole. But it makes sense considering what we're gonna see. For the rest of the part, which you've actually already seen. Why am I, like, having weird throat things? That's the worst. I will say, because Final Fantasy VII uses, totally, like, hand-drawn assets, the towns have much more character, than the ones before it, where it was just, you know, a series of sprites put together, which is, you know, colored per town, you know? So you do definitely get a lot of character for every single town. On the downside, you also get them a lot smaller, so that's what I'm really looking forward to in the remake, is seeing how they expand, you know? So, but, here we get to hear about Barrett's backstory, and about how he, you know, is kind of a bit of an outcast, and how he feels he deserves these things. It's really sad, because, like, all up to this point, Barrett's been, you know, big man on campus. He's been this cool big guy. And now you're learning, like, man, he has some skeletons in his closet, one might say. I think this town was actually used in the prototype, or something similar to the prototype for Final Fantasy VII, which you should give a look at. It was for the Nintendo 64. You know, like, that's interesting. And use Final Fantasy VI characters for testing. So, we learn about a character here named Dine. You can tell by his unique model and actual character name that he's probably important. And as you can see, it comes back to the ideas of power. And it's funny, because, like, this idea of no one uses coal nowadays is actually a big thing with happening right here, because I live in Alberta, which is, you know, kind of the oil refinery of the north, and the whole thing is like there are coal factories that are still trying to go working, but the government's putting tax on it, so they're not supposed to be used because they're so tough on the environment. And that's become a huge moral issue of what's better, our economy or the environment, you know? And so this game, heck, it's still relevant. 2016, I bet you 2017, 2018, it's going to be relevant for a long time, because it's always this idea of what's better. The less, the you know, like the money versus the environment. Like, that's always a big thing. But, oh. Yeah, no, that's not a good sign. Not Sephiroth this time. Not him this time, at least. Maybe. Considering it was Shinra troops, it actually might have been. I feel like that cut was a little too hard, though. But maybe it's supposed to just be like Cloud interrupting here. So. But this is where we learn about where Avalanche kind of started, perhaps. You know, it's I don't know if it's revealed if Barrett was the one who actually caused the explosion, or maybe I just don't remember. So, I guess the ultimate thing to come out of this, though, is, yeah, Shinra are bad guys, and he lost his wife. That's a sad thing for sure. And then this lady, upon hearing how he lost his wife, is like, hey, do you want to go to Las Vegas? And we're like, nah, keep the story going. I'm actually kind of happy you kind of get a little bit more story by saying no. It doesn't just end immediately. It's actually a very nice touch. But as you can see, there's the huge desert out there. And you can actually go and explore it. And it's the worst. Red 13 and Aerith are both commenting on the issues. And by both, I mean one of them. And it's really depressing. But the good news is, we're going to the Golden Saucer, or the Gold Saucer, rather, which is a very, very infamous part of the game. It's a trope. The trope is sidetracked by the Gold Saucer, because apparently in this game, something that a lot of people came into the situation of is they end up getting distracted by this, because it's almost amazing how, you know, it was the Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief, my favorite book of all time. At one point, they go to Las Vegas and they get addicted to this arcade game, and they're thinking they're there for an hour, but they're there for like 3 days because they just get so addicted to the attractions and stuff in the games. And like, that's literally what this is in real life. People stop their adventure here because they get addicted to the Golden Saucer. And I can see why, to a point where I actually was like, I tried to make sure I got, you know, I looked at some stuff in here, but I specifically wanted to make sure I didn't get too deep into the Gold Saucer lore, because this place is a mecca of things to do. You know, and I guess maybe once you actually know about this, it's not as bad. But also, if I recall, you need to pay to save. That's terrible. That's great, but that's also terrible. You also have to pay to get in. So I don't know if you don't have the money, what happens if you get here? You might have to go out and grind. I don't have enough for a lifetime pass, so I'm gonna pay the 3,000 though. And I think one time I actually come close to getting enough for a lifetime pass, but it's okay. Yeah, so like, I guess if you're on your other playthroughs and you know what's all in here, it won't be bad. But as someone who's coming into this for the first time, this place is terrifying. See all those holes? Those are places to go, each with their own attractions, so you'll have to see. And I love how at this point, everyone's just kind of like, let's have fun. And like, okay. So, I mean, I guess, I know this isn't the right time, yeah, exactly. I guess the whole thing is, yeah, it's like we want to find some information on Sephiroth, right? So, where else to go than a place with a whole bunch of people? Hey, Barrett, Stop thinking about your dead wife. Let's play a game. But, no, this area is actually really cool. And it does house one of the most, influential. One of the most, I've talked about it, the date side quest. It doesn't happen on this attempt, but, it does happen here. And depending on who you pick and stuff, it'll always be, you gotta work towards who you want the entire game up to that point. And spoilers, I do get to that point, and I've gotten there now. And depending on who you choose, it'll affect it. You can either get Tifa, Yuffie, Aerith, or Barret. Now, by default, you're probably going to get Aerith. Unless you do everything in your power to make sure you don't get Aerith. Yuffie and Barret are the hardest to get. See here, I made the mistake of not choosing anyone, so I accidentally got stuck with Aerith. And spoilers, for my date, I get Aerith. It sucks, but whatever. It's, I guess, the thematic default. So it's tough, and there's a trophy rather for getting a date with Barret, because it is hilarious, and also, it's kind of done for comedy. It's not an actual, thing of these two, because every other one has the characters super shipped together. Shoutouts to the Yuffie one, where she actually gives Cloud a kiss. She's the only one to kiss Cloud in this game. But the Barret one is played for laughs. It actually has Barret accusing Cloud of being a pedophile, so that's fun. Go give that scene a Google, because spoilers, we ain't getting in this playthrough, and I'm not replaying the whole game just to get that one scene, because you need to do every action up to that point right. But yeah, no, there's nothing in this area right now. It's the event square. There will be something there later. An event, perhaps. So I'm like, whatever. And so I switch out for Tifa, because Tifa is the better girl. And, it's tough to get Barret, man. It's tough to get Barret. You gotta pick all the right ones. And it even things that are seemingly unrelated, you might need to pick and choose, right? So, I love how I'm just standing here and being like, where should I go? So, the speed square here. Hey, boy, says this buff man McZangief. And he's like, oh, it's me, he's cool. It's like, stop calling me boy, which is weird. There's also, hey, Kono Dioda. Of course, I send it on to PlayStation Network because it's so funny and no one retweeted it. Makes me sad. What is Final Fantasy VII's obsession with strange homoeroticism? Like, it's there. It's undeniable. The amount of buff, naked men in the game. I mean, there's a whole thing within the bathtub, of course. But then you'll just get characters like Dio here, who are just a buff, naked man talking about, oh, well, a boy your age. It's like, it's a little creepy. It's admittedly a little creepy. Also, this Dio guy here, he's actually super important to the plot. In a weird way. Bye, Dio. But yes, the battle arena is where you have to go to meet him. You can actually go up there and ride the roller coaster, and if you do, I think it's a mini game. So that's kind of a good thing to do. But no, one weird thing about this is how you can get to every room from every room, if that makes sense. It's not just a hub with a bunch of smaller pieces coming out. No. It's like a hub, and then each one is also a hub. It's a little confusing at first. It makes this place seem a lot bigger, and then you realize it just goes, each of them. So you can play this minigame. I don't think I do. Mostly because it costs GP. Everything in here costs GP, which you need to get by winning the Chocobo minigame or by winning the battles. Now, it's not too bad to get it after you get to a certain point, but I feel like at this point it's probably not the best thing to do. So the battle arena is where we're going. It's kind of like a big important place where to go, but they're renovating, so we were lied to. Nice. It's good. So Ghost is hotel, and they sometimes switch between names. It's a little weird, but this is actually the inn here. For some reason, it's horror themed, and is just like, I guess it's meant to be an attraction, quote unquote, but also look at those cute ghosts. Like you can go in here. If you click on one of the things here, right there, you might not be able to hear it because it's really quiet, but it actually plays Kefka's Laugh from Final Fantasy VI, so that's a nice touch. Also, Mr. Hangman here, that job must suck. You can buy stuff. No, it's like, the music's scary, and it's meant to be all horror themed and stuff, and it actually is like, some of the stuff is really creepy, like right there, there's that mask in the background. That mask is terrifying. You can actually, like, it's a normal, functional... So there he is, Mr. Hangman again. It's just a normal, functional hotel, you know? So, we can't even stay the night because we don't have any GP. So that sucks. Oh well. Here's a Turtler's Paradise trophy, which, you need to find all of them to get some prizes later. I don't, because I miss one in Midgard that is fully missable, but it's not important prizes. They're just extra things. But the Wonder Square here. Who is this guy who is on the box art? Spoilers, is our next party member, whose name I'm gonna say how I was told to say it by a couple of people. So he's a fortune-telling machine, apparently. Most people call him Kate Sith, but it's pronounced Kashith. I know. I want to say Kate Sith. That's what everyone calls him, but apparently it's pronounced Kashith. In fact, I'm actually going to grab my phone right now to check on how to exactly pronounce it, because people get up in arms about that, because I guess, you know, you might say, well, in this game it's pronounced Kashith, or Kate Sith. Let's see here, Kate Sith. Pronounce. Here we go. How do you pronounce Kate Sith? The name comes from Gaelic. Okay, so it's, let's see here. Ketchi. That's what it's supposed to be. It's Ketchi. Yeah. Someone says Keishi. Ketchi. Yep. That's how you're supposed to pronounce it. Ketchi. Hope you guys are used to me saying Ketchi, because I'm going to say Ketchi. It is Scottish Gaelic, which means fairy cat, and that explains why in the extended Final Fantasy VII universe they give him a Scottish accent. So there you go. I haven't been paying attention to the game, but as you can see, this guy's trying to like worm his way into our party. And he's the worst party member in the game. See, limit breaks are meant to be good, right? His can potentially kill the party. He's the only character who I can think of in any video game that has the ability to give you a game over by getting the wrong thing. He has like a real style one, I think. He has a chance style one for his a chance style limit break, and there's a chance that you can totally get a game over with it. So here's some minigames that I will play because I actually haven't played them before. So this one you just have to mash the circle button. Now I, of course, am a master button masher. I can button mash like nobody's business. So I try and I beat both the sumo and the wrestler, Zangief there. Which you can mash. Funny thing is, Nintendo made an arm wrestling game, which was a sequel to Punch-Out! And a lot of people don't know about that, but it's true. I played it. It sucks. On an arcade machine. It sucks. You know what else sucks? this basketball game, which I think apparently might be one of the best ones for getting it, but you have to hold it for like just a second, and you only get one shot. And I'm like, hey, whoa, hold on. I gotta try this again. I gotta try it again once. That's too not good enough. But if you get good at this one's probably really good for getting it, but I'm like, come on, Kobe. Nope. It's a pretty bad minigame. Also reminds me of the time I worked at Chuck E. Cheese. I never want to think about the time I worked at Chuck E. Cheese ever again. So I'm trying on these little things, these slot machines. Sadly, can't play those. But you can sort of see where you might get some, get a little lost. Okay, so the G-Bike game and the, snowboarding game are both, actual full minigames. Well, they're minigames here that got turned into a full-blown, mobile game later. G-Bike itself was actually used, new HD models for the Final Fantasy VII characters. Okay, so this is a game starring Mog, the Mughal, which I don't know how to play. I played this thinking, like, this seems like an interesting game. I want to see how this goes. And, like, I don't know how this game works at all. So, you know, you're trying to train Mog, the Mughal, to fly to find a mate. Mog wants some of that dank Mughal puss, which I am thoroughly disgusted that came out of my mouth. I'm gonna wash it out. So you have to feed him, but you don't want to overfeed him. And right now he's like, nah man, I don't want to eat. Oh, but he's gonna eat. I guess it's meant to be like the Chow Garden, kind of. It's like I'm like trying to feed him. So I give him one. Then I'm like, nah, you can have another. I don't know. Now he has a stomach ache because I gave him too many too soon, or I'm probably doing something totally wrong. I don't know. I thought what you had to do was give him enough to, or is his stomach rumbling? I don't know. I thought you just had to give him enough to be not hungry anymore. And then, like, I just don't know. I probably have to just, you know, now he's happy. So I'm like, okay, you're happy now. So I'm gonna give you one more. You know, and like, and now is he too full or is he happy? And like, the game's not over. So like, I don't know. Am I supposed to keep going, or now he's gonna try to fly? Seems like Mog decided to take another shot at it. Gonna make it, boyo? Nope. Damn. And then he gets really sad. And you have to, I do like the press continue. Like, this game is weird, and I got done and I'm like, I don't get it. Is that like I guess it's as difficult as a real arcade game. Like, that's pretty dumb. Torpedo Attack, I think is, yeah, it's out of order, but I think you can play it later. Could be wrong about that. The snowboarding game you can also play later, but you can play it because that one did also get a mobile game that was just the snowboarding. But yeah, that's how you can get some GP, though you're probably better off to go to the battle square because honestly, the battles work pretty good. So, but we got enough to at least potentially go to the hotel. But first off, we got an event Torino. Uh-oh. Look at that Shinra soldier. Well, sayonara, Shinra-san. And it's a good thing we got a party of 3 here. He's been deadified. And Ketchi's just like, oh, this is confusing for an obvious machine such as myself. I'm sure some of you know what Ketchi is, but I won't get into it too much until the plot twist comes. So, yeah, looks like our boy Sephiroth came by and decided to give him the old... Nope, they've been shot. Just kidding. It's like, I love how we always assume it was Sephiroth, but nope. It wasn't. It was a man with A gun on his arm? Oh, jeez. There's only one of that in the universe. Even though, if it can happen to so-and-so, it can also happen to, you know... Like, if Barrett has a gun on his arm, that doesn't mean, like, it's not like no one else can get a gun on his arm, you know? It's like, it means obviously that it's possible for people in this universe to get that, so... But we decided to run into the battle arena, which is absolutely hilarious, because, well, now we're kind of in a bit of a pickle. And, kind of sucks how Dio just doesn't listen to us, but... At least, you know, you're not locked out of here, which is the good thing, so you can just kind of, come back later and it'll still be fine. Dio forgives you. Dio's a forgiving man. I like how it says Gateway to Heaven there. That's actually such a nice attention to detail. It's good. It's like, this whole sequence is really something. So, essentially... Guess what? We're in prison now. This section, I will say, I hate the music here. I know some people probably like it, but it does work for this area. But I really don't like it. I think it's one of the most... honestly, it gives me a bit of a headache, you know? So, but yeah, there he is. There's Barrett. Barrett, why did you kill all those people? Oh, this doesn't look good. I mean, you're already fitting in with the prison atmosphere, which I guess is good. But, you could probably see where this is going. I think it was... I knew it was gonna happen. Like, I felt like this one was really obvious. Ketchy's just like... I'm gonna keep saying his name every time until it gets embedded into me how to pronounce his name. He's just kind of along for the ride. And he's been shot. Well, geez. It sure looks like someone here... Okay, this guy here is weird. He just says ha ha ha. And then follows you. And there's no rhyme or reason. He runs if you run. But there are enemies here. These little guys attack from both sides. Pincer strike. You know, Kitschy's doing his whole... Yeah, put him up, put him up. Which I do like. These guys, if I recall, give, like, no issues at all. They do mug you, which sucks. I think they can... Yeah, so they can steal something. But I think if you kill them quick enough, you get your stuff back. So, we're gonna kill him right away. Kill him fairly quickly. So Ketchy comes with the Manipulate materia. Which, at first, may be like... That's probably not that good. You know, you have a 30% chance of manipulating them. But, spoilers, it's actually really good. What you can do is with it, and as you can see here, it comes with it, so I'm going to give him a few more stuff. What it can do is, and this is the important thing, with the enemy skill command, there are some skills that you can learn from enemies that they will never use on you. For example, healing techniques or defensive ones. They'll never use those on you. So, what do? Use the Manipulate materia, and then in turn, once they're able to be manipulated, you get them to use it on the character who you want to be manipulated into using it. This is how blue magic works in Final Fantasy V as well, and I've been using, because you get some broken stuff like that. And trust me when I say, you want this game to be easy, learn the blue magic. It ruins the game. You'll see later, some bosses I destroy with blue magic. But guys, that's about it for now. Next time, let's prison break. And also solve a character plotline, whatever, we'll see. Thank you all for watching. See you then. Ciao.